Hi mamas, thank you so much for joining me here today. Today we're going to go through a gentle prenatal yoga sequence. This sequence will offer you many different modifications to adjust your practice according to where you are in your pregnancy. I am currently 34 weeks pregnant with my second baby, and I can already tell that my body is starting to slow down. So if your body ever tells you to rest, make sure you take those moments to pause, to reconnect to your breath, and then join back in the sequence when you feel ready to do so. With me, I have a few props. I have 2 blocks. I highly recommend blocks, especially when you're pregnant, just because you need a little bit of extra support through some of these poses to kind of lift the floor up to meet you and make room for baby. If you don't have blocks at home, that's okay. You could always grab some blocks or some books or something that kind of resembles it, or grab them online. I also have a strap. If you don't have a strap at home, then you might want to grab a towel or a belt. Those 2 things will work. And then I have a blanket, and any blanket will work. It just helps to add a little bit of extra cushion to support your joints, especially your knees, because we'll lower down to the knees quite a bit throughout the course of this sequence. I also have that blanket rolled up underneath my hips to help elevate the hips so that when you do sit in Sukhasana, which is known as easy seated pose, but is not always so easy, it just helps to lift the hips up a little bit so that your knees can slope downwards and your hip creases can soften. So when you're ready to begin and you've gathered everything that you need, go ahead and come into that comfortable seated position. Root your sitting bones down into the earth. Let's take a moment to lift your shoulders up by your ears as you inhale. And then as you exhale, drop your shoulder blades down your back. Release any tension across the forehead, the jaw, the neck, and your shoulders. And gently close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Two more. Go ahead and lower your right ear to your right shoulder and drop your chin in towards your chest, and then move your left ear to your left shoulder. And just start to rock your head from side to side, creating these half circles that help to open up the back and both sides of your neck. And once you feel ready, you can start to draw some bigger circles, moving your head all the way around. And then, like a hula hoop was traveling down your body, start to move that circular motion into your shoulders. So you kind of just move your shoulders around in a circular fashion, perhaps over one knee and then towards the other. As you inhale, you'll pull your chest forward, and as you exhale, you'll round the chest back. And moving in both directions. Starting to connect to your body and connect to your breath. So let's say 1 or 2 more rounds. And then come all the way back up to center. On an inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And then start to reach through your right fingertips, gathering a little bit more length through your right side body. And then as you exhale, switch. Reach on over through your left fingertips. It's going to kind of feel like you're climbing a rope. Just gathering the top of that rope and then pulling it down towards the crown of your head. And a couple more. Keeping those sitting bones rooting down into the floor. Reach up evenly through both hands. And then exhale, pull your hands to meet at your heart. And then bow your chin in towards your chest for a moment. Bring one hand to your heart and then your other hand to baby's home. And breathe down into your belly. Allow these breaths to create a link, an imaginary line of connection between your heart and your baby's beating heart within you. And take one more deep breath down into your belly, giving your body and your baby the nourishment it needs to breathe so fully. And exhale, let it go. And when you're ready, softly blink your eyes open. And let's shift forward onto your hands and to your knees. And as you do this, I like to open up the blanket. And again, just let the blanket provide a little bit of extra cushion for your knees. And you can bring your hands down to the floor or onto blocks. So depending on what you have available to you at home. I'll use blocks, but if you don't have them, then obviously hands just flat on the floor, fingertips spread wide, rooting down into your inner palm. The most important piece of this puzzle is that because you have baby in front, it's very easy to kind of sway into your lower back, which creates almost what feels like a dumping action in your lower back. You want to press your hands down into the surface beneath you so that you actually lift what feels like out of your armpit, but it'll help you to access your side body muscles, your serratus and your lats. And that will really help you to support baby's home as you move through these various poses. So rooting into your palm, feeling a little bit of a lift through your side body. As you inhale, draw your chest forward through the gateway of your arms so your shoulder blades glide down your back. And as you exhale, press and round your upper back. A few more times. Inhale, chest forward. Exhale, round. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And 2 or 3 more of these pelvic rocks. Oftentimes relieving accumulated pressure in your shoulders and also opening up space in the sacrum and in your hips. Now come to a neutral spine as you inhale. And as you exhale, tuck your toes under. Again, press into your palms so you feel the side body lift. And then lift your hips up towards the sky, straightening your legs as much as you can, but it's okay to keep them bent. I even recommend stepping your feet a little bit wide while you're pregnant, just to create a little bit more space for stability and support. Continue to draw your shoulder blades down your back to broaden your collarbones. Feel your hips pull back so you can lengthen your spine. Breathe deep. Good. And then walk your hands back to meet your feet. Bend your knees. Roll all the way up to stand. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. And then exhale, bring your hands to meet in front of your heart. Feet are slightly wider than hips width in distance. Really root down into your feet the same way you did into your hands so you can lift up through your arches. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, forward fold, bringing your hands to your shins or your thighs. As you inhale, lengthen your spine. And then as you exhale, walk your hands out into downward facing dog. Lower your knees down to the blanket or to the mat. As you inhale, open your chest. As you exhale, press and round your upper back. Inhale, come to a neutral spine. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Walk your hands back to meet your feet. Bend your knees and press down into your feet to roll up to stand. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. And then exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And then exhale, walk your hands out to downward facing dog. Lower your knees down to the mat. As you inhale, open your chest. As you exhale, round. Lengthen your spine, coming into neutral. Exhale, downward dog. Walk your hands back to meet your feet. Bend your knees and roll to stand. Inhale, your arms stretch up. And then exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Lower your knees down to the mat. And then this time, you're going to send your right foot back and spin your right foot flat. Press down into your left shin and your whole left hand as you reach your right arm up towards the sky. Pressing into the outer edge of your right foot, you want to just lift a little bit out of that left armpit so you draw your left shoulder blade down your back. As you do that, you're going to feel a lot of length through the left side of your body. And if it feels good, draw some circles with your right arm. Okay. Inhale, reach your right arm up. And then exhale, lower your right hand down. Lower your right knee down and switch sides. Send your left foot back and spin the back foot flat. Press down into your your right shin and your whole right hand. Reaching up through your left arm. Drawing that right shoulder blade down your back as you stretch your left arm to the sky. And then draw some circles to open up your left shoulder. Creating those firm points of contact with the floor will really help you to maintain balance. Lower your left hand down and your left knee. Rounding your collarbones, unstep your right foot outside your right hand. You might move your left knee back a little bit just to drop your hips. You might be a little bit higher, in which case you'll just bring your hands up higher onto those blocks. And it just kind of depends on, again, where you are in your pregnancy and how open you are in your hips. I'm going to move my blanket back a little bit. You're just going to draw some circles into your right hip. So you kind of pull your hips back and then draw your hips forward. And these circles are just helping to open up your right hip joint. Your hips and your shoulders are known as what is called a ball and socket joint, which means that it can move in many different directions. Now go on and straighten out your right leg and pull your hips back. I like to glide the right heel forward a little bit so my hips are on top of that left knee. And then go ahead and come up onto a higher level of your blocks. Flex the right ankle as your right hip pulls back and just pull your heart forward through the gateway of your arms. Sternum rising towards your chin. And that should offer up a lot of length for your right hamstring. You can always keep a micro bend in that right knee. 3 breaths. Nice. Now press your hands down, move your right foot to the right, and then press into the outer edge of your right foot as you come up and stand on your left knee. And you'll come into gate pose. Lower your right hand to your outer right thigh, left hand to the sky, and lean on over to the right. Opening up the left gate of your body. Come back up to center, lower your hands to those blocks, and then lower your right knee down. And then you might flatten the blocks to make it a little bit easier to step your left foot outside your left hand. And once again, just coming into those big circles as you move your hips back and around. And just kind of getting into your feeling body. So not worrying really at all about what it looks like, but instead in how it feels. Knowing that this is one of the best things that you can do for your body to prepare you for labor and delivery. Open up your hips. Access the waters of your pelvis. And after a few rounds, go ahead and pull your hips back over your right knee. I like to slide the left heel forward slightly. Only do that if that feels good for you. And then come up a little bit higher onto your blocks. Press down into your hands. Pull your left toes back towards your face and draw your heart forward towards your toes. Breathing in and out through your nose. Now step your left foot off the mat over to the left. Turn your left toes in. You can't really see that probably right now, but my left toes are turning in. As I press into the outer blade of the left foot, I come to stand up on your right knee. Lower your left hand to the outer left thigh. Reach your right arm up towards the sky and then lean on over to the left. And as you press down into your right shin, feel a lot of length through the right side of your body. The right ribs start to fan open. And take one more breath. And then come up to center. Lower your hands down. And then lower your left knee down next to the right. And go ahead and tuck your toes. Lower your hands down onto those blocks or onto the floor. And then return into downward facing dog pose. And this time walk your hands to meet your feet. And bend your knees into chair pose. Try to pull your hips back by drawing your tailbone in to support your lower back. Feel your side body lift to engage so you're not hunching over in your chair. And take another breath, pulling from your hips to your fingertips. And press to stand. And draw your hands into your heart. Chair pose, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And exhale, walk your hands forward into downward facing dog. Now you're going to step your right foot forward outside your right hand. Spin your back foot flat. And make sure you're either at heel to heel, or I actually like heel to back arch alignment. And then circle your arms open into warrior two. Straighten out your right leg. And then tilt your left hip back as you reach forward through your right hand. And lower your right hand down to a block outside of your right foot. Now you might find that 2 blocks is more appropriate. I know it is for me at this point in time in my pregnancy. And if you're hypermobile or the knee locks back, slightly bend your right knee and reach your left arm to the sky. Triangle pose. And you can stay here, bring your left hand to your hip and come into a half bind and open up your chest. You can also reach your left arm forward. It really just depends on what feels good for you. Press down into your feet as you reach again up and out of that right armpit. Rebend your right knee. Come into warrior two. And then lower your hands down to those blocks. For some of us, it feels better to kind of step back into tabletop and then return into down dog. And reach your left foot up and then step your left foot outside your left hand, spinning your right foot flat. Find right heel to left arch alignment or heel to heel, and then circle your arms open to the side. And then straighten out your left leg. Tilt your right hip back as you fold your left hip, and then take your left hand to a block or two outside your left foot. Maybe you slightly bend your left knee as you press down into your feet, reach up across your shoulders and out through your fingertips. And any variations with your top arm, just make sure you keep breathing. Opening up those channels or those lines of energy in your body. Take one more breath. Come back into warrior two. And this time go ahead and straighten out your left leg and turn your left toes in and bring your hands to your hips. Now turn your heels in and your toes out. And you're not turning your toes way far out, just kind of 45 degrees or slightly less, so that when you bend your knees are over your toes and not dipping in, kind of like collapsing in. Lift through the arches of your feet. And then lower your hands onto your thighs and drop your right shoulder. Inhale, come back to center, and then drop your left. And rock from side to side. And then straighten your legs. You can reach your arms up. And then exhale, hands to heart. Good. Second exercise here. You'll go ahead and bend your knees, again over your toes. And so you're in a nice deep temple squat. Lift through the arches of your feet. Lower your right forearm to your right thigh and reach your left arm overhead. Inhale, come up to center. And then switch. Left forearm to thigh. Do that a few more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, come up to center. Feel the burn. And then come all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart. Good. Last one. I know you're really starting to feel it, but you're just preparing for that marathon of labor. Go ahead and bend into your knees. Open your arms wide. Cross your right elbow over the left for Garudasana. Now I like to lean forward and kind of sway from side to side. Come back to neutral. Lift your chest. Open your arms. Straighten your legs. And exhale, hands to heart. Bend your knees again. Open your arms. Exhale, left elbow over right. Wrapping up your forearms and hands. And then exhale, maybe dive your chest forward. And rock from side to side. And my teacher calls this pose Kali, and Kali is the goddess of destruction, just really helping to destroy any thoughts of self-doubt, any negative thoughts that you need to kind of clear from your consciousness. Just imagine as though you're sweeping those things away from your body. This moment now, clearing the path before you. And now root down through your tailbone, lift your chest, circle your arms open. And then exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Last thing here, toes turn in, heels slightly out. So now your feet are basically parallel, if not slightly turned in. Grab your blocks. Lean your chest forward. And then I actually like to move the blocks forward and just come into a really nice long Parsva Konasana. Nice. If this feels like it's too much for you, you can always come up higher onto your blocks and rest here as well. Nice. Now carry those blocks with you and go ahead. Come up to stand. Slightly bend your knees. Turn your left toes forward. Bend your left knee. And we'll return back to your hands and knees, just like we did on the first side. Awesome. So now might be a good time for a break, in which case you can open your knees, take your blocks and either place them on top in front of you, so you can just kind of lower down to your forearms and place your forehead there. Or if you have another prop such as a bolster, you can also place your bolster there as well. A bolster is like a big firm pillow, so if you have one of those, that can replace it as you drop down. And taking a few breaths. Good. And slowly come up to seated. All right, so we'll move into a supported back bend. You'll come to stand up on your shins. And Camel Pose is one of the safer poses to do during pregnancy. I recommend taking both of your blocks outside of your feet. And then a bolster on top. Again, if you don't have these things, that's okay. You'll just tuck your toes, kind of reach for your toes. You can lower your right hand over towards your right heel or towards the surface beneath you. You're going to squeeze your outer hips so that you feel your inner thighs hug to support your lower back as you reach up through your left arm. And then exhale, sweep your left arm to the other side and reach your right arm up. And then exhale, sweep. Make sure you're breathing. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And if it feels good, you come into full camel. You can reach both hands back. Lift your chest like you're lifting your heart over a high bar. Keep squeezing your inner thighs and your outer glutes as you draw your shoulder blades down your back. Take one more breath. And then come up. And slowly lower back onto your heels. All right, so we're going to transition to some seated postures. You can go ahead and roll up your blanket just as you did at the beginning. You're going to start with Baddha Konasana. So bringing the soles of your feet together, rooting your sitting bones down into that surface beneath you. You're going to come into a wide Baddha Konasana. So bringing your feet farther forward rather than drawing the heels in. And you can support your knees if you like with your blocks. You can lean forward. Hopefully you have enough room for baby's home as you lean forward, just as much as you can. There's never a need to force yourself into any pose. It's more so a practice of allowance and surrender. Feeling your breath soften some of the tissues as you increase the amount of prana, of breath, of life force energy throughout your body. It just helps your body to relax into the pose rather than pull yourself in. It might help to close your eyes to soften and relax the mind as you tap into your feeling body. And then come all the way up to seated. Send your feet forward out in front of you. Take the sole of your right foot to your inner left thigh and open your chest to the right a little bit. You're going to twist over to the right, and for some of us, a twist might mean just left hand kind of right in that center between your right shin and left inner thigh, or left to the inner left thigh to open. Another breath. And come back to center. Walk your hands forward. Again, you can bring your hands to blocks. Deep breaths. And come back up to seated. Switching sides. Send your right foot forward, lengthening your right leg. And then take the sole of your left foot to your inner right thigh. Opening to the left, take your right hand to the inner thigh or shin as your chest revolves to the left. Come back to center. And then go ahead and lower your forearms down to blocks or to the floor. And just the act of flexing your right toes is going to increase the stretch down the right back side of your body. And then inhale, come back up to center. And stretch both legs out. And flex your toes. Press your hands down to lift your chest. This is a hard pose. This is not an easy one. As you lift and lengthen your chest and your knees go down, you might find that your elbows bend. So just know that wherever you are is where you need to be. Good. And then I'm going to give you a couple different options for Shavasana. And all of these options just depends on what you feel like you need, but I hope that you can take these options with you into various classes as you continue to practice throughout your pregnancy. So the first one is going to be supported Baddha Konasana. And supported Baddha Konasana, you need 2 blocks and a bolster. And your blocks are set up like so like a T. One block comes down, the other block goes like so. You lay the bolster down like a ramp, and the top is for your head. As you keep your sitting bones down, you can either bring the soles of your feet together, coming into that open hip shape, or you can extend your feet out long. And you'll just lay yourself down to rest. Into what feels like a heavenly shape, for your mind and your body. Good. Now, if you don't have those props at home, then you can also lay on your left side. Hopefully you have a pillow. From between your thighs. And probably very similar to how you sleep. Resting on your left side. And then the last option is very personal to you, if this feels good for you, is to run your legs up the wall. And the benefit to Viparita Karani, or running your legs up the wall, is that it helps to reduce swelling in your feet and in your ankles and your knees. So all of your legs, you just kind of start to drain a lot of that energy all the way back down into your heart. So you can use a bolster or a pillow. Move this to the side and bring it up to the wall. And really the only reason why this might not feel good for you is because of baby, right? If there's too much pressure going up to your esophagus and up into your, what's now your upper organs, if that feels uncomfortable, then you'll just skip this one and you'll do one of the other options or variations. But you'll bring that bolster up to the wall. You'll kind of mermaid the wall and you'll roll somewhat gracefully onto your back. Running your legs up the wall and kind of finding a shape where your hips are supported. Your arms can reach out to the side. And you can breathe here for a couple of minutes on your own. And after you've found your chosen shape, just resting there for a few minutes to kind of reset your nervous system, to let all of that hard work sink into your bodies, into your baby's home, to feel any tension wash away from you, to feel that breath move through you, to enter into a state of complete rest and relaxation. Giving yourself this time to fully recharge. And feel free to stay here for as long as you need. Thank you so much for joining me here today on the mat, and I look forward to seeing you during a future practice, and I wish you the most wonderful, blessed journey ahead. Namaste.